guys, have you ever friend-zoned a woman who was interested in you? Why, and what was her reaction? Yes, because despite her being an absolutely wonderful person whom I love, I knew we wouldn't work out over the long run. When you've dated enough, you can tell where there are romantic incompatibilities, especially when you've experienced them firsthand with someone else. She's still one of my closest friends to this day, and I've never regretted maintaining our friendship instead of taking it elsewhere, and she feels the same. Yes, because my wife would have disapproved. Girl asked me out in high school. She was sociable, pretty, adventurous, ambitious, and intelligent, so I assumed it was a prank or a joke. Had been done to me before in middle school, and said no and that she would be bored with me. Friends told me later she was serious. Yep, she was nice-ish, but I just didn't have romantic chemistry with her. I was gentle with her, I didn't go into details, but told her I just didn't feel the same way. She didn't take it well and told all of our friends I rejected her because she was very overweight. I told them yes, that was part of it, but the much bigger issue was that she would do something like trash me to our friends when I didn't give her something she wasn't entitled to in the first place. Edit. We didn't have romantic chemistry for a variety of reasons. Different personalities, different priorities, different relationship wants/needs, and no physical attraction on my side. It was all very obvious to someone who wasn't focused just on her own wants. She ignored me repeatedly, declining to engage with her like that, including rebuffing her grabbing parts of my body, before I talked to her about it. The fact that she reacted the way she did confirmed that this was someone I would in no way have any interest in being with. I'm gay? Oh, yay. She asked me if I was gay. She just couldn't understand why I wouldn't want her. She was a co-worker who had a type A personality and was very loud. I, by contrast, am very reserved, and her constant obvious flirting made me feel uncomfortable. I am a friendly person by nature, so I probably led her on without even knowing it. She was friendly enough, but I didn't have any feelings for her. She flat out asked if I wanted to date and said I would prefer to be co-workers. She was annoyed and now we don't talk. Yes, I lost my wife of 32 years a few years back. Recently, pre-Rona, a woman at church had been very unsubtly insinuating herself into my affairs for a few months. I was asked to do the scripture reading one Sunday, and it was a passage from Paul the Apostle about how women should basically sit down and shut up in church. Super cringe. Why? Anyway, as we were leaving the sanctuary afterwards, I casually mentioned that it was obvious the pastor had chosen a single man, me, to read such a contentious passage. Her response was to bat her eyes and say to me, "You're only single because you choose to be single." I gave her a blank stare for a few seconds and coldly replied, "When the person you plan to grow old with suddenly passes away, that isn't a choice." Harsh, I know, but message received. She's no longer throwing herself at me, and TBH being cooped up due to Rona restrictions probably had a lot to do with it, giving her time to cool her jets. She made it clear through her actions before asking me out that I was never her first choice, be that through dating/hooking up with other guys or just treating me like a basic friend. Eventually I learned that I needed to treat myself better and not accept a second-place relationship. The result is that I still love her like a sister, but we're never going to be in a relationship because I now have self-respect for myself. How she reacted? Basically brushed it off like it never happened. I had no physical or sexual attraction to her. In response, she proceeded to have sex with anyone who approached her, then got addicted to meth, got fired from her job, and last I heard she ended up in PTD, where she was required to do a 30-day inpatient recovery program. She dropped out and is in the local awaiting trial for theft, possession, soliciting, etc. Oh boy, for once I do feel like I have something to share. So we were close friends for a year at that point, and she eventually told me that she wanted more from our relationship. We were in high school, and given that she used to be in a relationship with a friend of mine, I declined. She said she preferred that we stop talking at that point because it might hurt her in the long run. I kinda acted like nothing happened and she couldn't really stop talking to me. She was pretty upset sometimes that I was acting like I could be her boyfriend, but that I did not do anything about it. At one point I realized that I was indeed acting like her BF and that I should probably make things right. So I made a move, and now we've been together for 8 years and we just bought a house! Now she keeps telling her friend that the friend zone is not always a dead end. Yes, as a freshman in high school. I was a freshman, she was a senior. I had no clue who she was when she asked, and wasn't attracted to her. I told her we could just be friends, but she didn't want that. The whole conversation was over text and she wasn't taking no for an answer, so I eventually just blocked the number. That entire situation was weird. There was a girl I was kind of friends with at uni. We got on and there was a spark, but I didn't really have feelings for her. Kind of stupidly ended up kissing when we were on a night out with a group of friends, and she was a lot more into me than I was into her. Again, I made a mistake by going out on a date when I should have just nipped things in the bud. Ended up kissing again on the date, and it was only after that I had to tell her I wasn't interested in taking things further. The first kiss was just a bit of a drunken mistake, but going on a date was a mistake on my part, and I only did it because I didn't really know how to turn a girl down without hurting her feelings or making it awkward at that point in my life. She got pretty upset and called me a lot, and that made it kind of too awkward to stay friends. She was a good friend of mine who I met through my work. We worked very well together and had strong professional chemistry and produced some excellent work together. She asked me out, we went on a few dates, and I just didn't feel a spark. She took it very well, and now she's dating another friend of mine, and we're all still good friends and collaborators to this day. Thanks for listening. Subscribe for more daily videos.